G'day peeps, something about vaping here. I've had a few requests, few people messaged me wondering to go with the SX Mini pod system and the Lost Vape Orian or Orion. Now, I've had a few people message me about, how's the SX Mini? I got it. Do you have these problems, etc., etc. So I'm here to basically show you guys which one to get. This one should be a nice quick video. We'll see how it goes. Know me, I'll ramble on a bit more. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get into the video. So I'll do quite a bit of this with face up. This is the SX Mini pod system. Now the battery life on this is a lot smaller than the Orion. So I think this has got a 350 mAh. So it's not very big. It's, if you're on high milligram nic salts, it would be enough probably for about half a day. I get about half a day use out of it. It's very slick, very nice looking, but I've had a lot of people, including myself, saying they're having trouble with the pod system. They use a ceramic 1 ohm coil, and they always say it only lasts a day or two, so I'm going to give you a tip or trick right now. When you fill it up, so you take the top off, take the cap off. When you fill it up, make sure you prime the coil like you would another atomizer by putting a few drops down the center. Let it soak up for a while and then do it again. You want to soak it. I found that the cotton in there is quite tight. I have pulled them apart. The cotton in there is quite tight, and it takes a while for it and for a fair bit of juice to soak up in there. It takes a good time. 10 minutes, half an hour isn't enough. It needs something extra, more than just around the sides. You need to put it through the center. Flood it. You may get a bit of leaking out of the bottom when you do it that way. There's 2 holes there. Just wipe it down and you should be right to go. Just flood that fucker real good, and you should have a lot less problems with that one. Now I'll move on a little bit to the Orion, and then I'll do a little compare thoughts. Orion 1000 mAh battery, could be 950. I think it's 1000 though, from what I remember. Nice pod system, this one. This is the gold. I also have the black. This is the DNA version. Now the difference between the DNA and the Orion Q is obviously being a DNA chip. This thing can go into eScribe, and you can change a lot of the settings for how hard it fires on the pods. And with the DNA version, you can use any of the pods that they provide for either the Q or the Orion DNA version. That's because you can change the settings in eScribe to read the different resistances, and it will work for you. Now with the Orion Q, which I don't have, you're stuck to the one they provide. I think from memory they use a 1 ohm. You're kind of stuck with their, they don't like, I think you can use the 0.5s as well, but that's it. So the 0.25s will not work on the Orion Q, but the 0.5 and the 1 ohms will, and all 3 will also work on the DNA version with changing settings in eScribe. Now you can get different tips for your pod here, because this does twist and pull off. You kind of got to break the seal, so it's a bit silly in my opinion. I like the fill system right on the top. The pods come out easy enough with that latch on the side. I've got the 0.5 in there at the moment. They clip in nicely. Very nice, sleek looking mod, this one. I really like it. 3 clicks on, 3 clicks off. There's your power mode button settings, so you've got different power modes. None of this you have in the SX Mini. So if you're looking for something to last you all day, run a variety of different pods, this is your guy. Really nice one. If you're looking for something that you just have maybe 50 meg nic salts, 30 milligram nic salts, and you only have it every now and then, the SX Mini isn't too bad for that. That's what I use it for. It actually holds up well, but you can't change the power you're delivering to the coil, and they're only 1 ohm ceramic coils that I haven't had very good luck with. I mean, you can do the trick where you flood it, but I still haven't had good... I've lost the word. I haven't had a good time. I haven't had a good time with these coils. Now, I have seen SX Mini are bringing out a newer version of their pods, so hopefully they have worked around this issue, because it's a bit of a dud. With the current pods on here, this thing is a bit of a dud, and I actually am going to say I won't recommend it. I do recommend either the Orian Q or the DNA version. If you can afford the DNA version, go it. It's worth the extra few bucks. This isn't bad, so it works alright depending on how you go with the pods. So the pods are a hit and miss. One plus I will give this is I was able to rebuild the pods. Now, I've done a video on how I did that. It may be a little bit boring for a lot of you. I'm going to admit it is a little bit of a snoozer, but that's just how it's done. It was one of my first videos, so I'm sure I'll get better with time, and I might even revisit the rebuilding of this pod. Now, you can, I have seen it done on this, but good luck. It involves very, very precision, getting down, dropping your coil through the hole, basically destroying the drip tip, because that'll start to wobble as soon as you do it. I will say this, there's a company out there that are making a rebuildable pod for the Orian. Otis Designs are doing a rebuildable pod for the Orian. You can technically use it with the Q, but you have to build 0.5 or 0.1 pretty much on the dot for it to recognize it. Where with the DNA version, you can build almost any coil you want, except for the big ass beefy 100 watters, and this will fire it. You play with a few settings in eScribe, say this is the coil resistance, and it will work for you. So there's a little bit of a difference between these two guys. If you were unsure which one to get, thinking, oh, SX Mini make really good products, yes they do, but this is not really one of them, go for the Orian. Little side by side. Most people will prefer the Lost Vape Orian. I don't mind this. Personally, I don't mind it, but I am not going to recommend it unless you know what you're getting into, and that's a couple of vapes a day, not much battery life, so, and the pods are shite. But if you're handy and can rebuild and stuff, and you can rebuild. I think I was using 32 gauge wire, something that heats up nice and quickly. It's got to be above 1 ohm. I think I was building at about 0.11, 0.12. This will be your guy. It's not bad. Depends what you're going to use it for. Best all-rounder, in my opinion, is the Orion. That's my quick little video on the basically bitch about SX Mini, depending on what you're using it for. That's a few differences between them. This looks really pretty. This looks really pretty too, but it's a bit bigger. It's shorter, but it's wider. They're the differences. Power output modes, big choice of coils, non-rebuildable, rebuildable if you can. Cotton's a bit shit, pods are a bit shit. Nice looking pod, very light. Shit battery life. There you go, that's it. I probably could have done it a bit shorter. If you have any other questions about these two devices, feel free to make a comment on wherever I've posted this video. Pod Vapors Australia. This one's coming to you guys. So I hope I've helped. Leave a comment. Tell me how you think of it. If you own either or of these, tell me in the comments below how you think these compare. If you own both, your thoughts. If you don't own any and you're thinking about getting one, I hope this helped. Alright, 11-minute video, not too bad. See yous.